Hey, my loves, and welcome back to another episode of the Know Who You Are podcast. I am your host, Tamisa D, and over here on this podcast, it is a production of me journaling out loud, you guys, sharing my daily and weekly life lessons with you guys, putting them into context so that we could all learn, grow, flourish, and love and prosper together. Yes, listen, do I have a conversation for you guys today? We are talking about, drum roll, we are talking about guilt. What? Yes, we are talking about guilt and releasing yourself away from that spirit of guilt. Because let me tell you something. When you get into motion of moving forward, you're going to have so many things that piles on top of you that's going to make you feel guilty for wanting to progress. But we're going to talk about it today. And if you have ever had this feeling of guilt when you was trying to progress, or when a situation arises in your family and it had absolutely nothing to do with you, but all the guilt tended to fall on you because of self-will, you decided to feel guilty for it, or if other family members tried to push the guilt onto you to make you feel bad about the situation when in actuality, you had no control over it. So we're going to talk about that today. If you've ever encountered a situation like that, leave it in the comments below. Let's start a conversation and let's continue to build this community. So listen, guilt. It's like weighing the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have guilt of moving forward in life, like, should I do this for myself? Should I choose me in this season of my life and focus solely on myself and my goals and what I'm doing and step away from everybody else for a while? So you can feel guilt for that. You can feel guilt for having a family member that needs assistance and you just are not there right now to cater to their needs. You can feel guilty about that. Listen, release yourself from guilt. Not condemn yourself and feel guilty for having the weight on your shoulders already for the things that's going on in your world, and then add on the weight of other family members as well. That's unfair to you. So moving forward, we're breaking the shackles of guilt off of ourselves, and we're moving and we're pushing forward into becoming, we're pushing forward and realizing and knowing who we are and what we are created to do, and we're not allowing that guilt to hinder us any longer. Now, we could feel guilt for a lot of different things, but today we are focusing in on feeling the guilt of truly wanting to progress in your life and not being able to fulfill all the needs of the other people in your life. And that is okay. You may have, let's say, a cousin or an aunt who is requiring you, just to throw a scenario out there, to come assist them with organizing their home, but you already put on your calendar, today I am working on chapter 1 of my book from this time to this time. If someone outside of that comes in and try to take away time that you already allocated to working on your goals, do not allow yourself to feel guilty by having to tell that person, hey, I'm not able, I cannot, I'm already occupied, or I already have plans. Do not allow yourself to feel guilt for choosing yourself, for choosing to work towards your goals. See, you have put yourself aside long enough. You have neglected you long enough. And we've talked about this countless times, that you cannot pour into someone if your cup is empty. We've heard that saying a million times, and it is true. You cannot pour into someone else's cup if your cup is completely empty. It is time to focus in on you and what you're working on and not allow guilt to consume you. Understand? Let's talk about the birthing process. And we have discussed this before, but we talked about it in the sense of giving birth to your dream, giving birth to your vision. But now we're going to move in deeper. You have to release that guilt of not being able to show up for everybody else because you finally decided to show up for yourself in this season, right? You have to understand that once you do give birth to that dream, once you do give birth to that vision, now just like a mother who's giving birth to her child, now she has to breastfeed that baby, right? Now, with you giving birth to your dreams, making the choice, making the decision that I am going to show up for me in this season of my life. I am going to show up for my goals in this season of my life. And you continue to move forward, and you're not taking the phone calls because you're working, and you're not showing up to the party because you're working and investing your time into your goals and your dreams. Listen, you have to nurture what you're working on. You have to nurture those projects in order for them to grow and to expand and to truly flourish, just like that mother who has just given birth to that baby and she's breastfeeding that baby to provide that baby with nutrients that he or she needs to grow, for their brain to develop, for their body to function properly. She has to nurture that baby with feeding that baby by attaching that baby to her breast and feeding that baby, by holding that baby and showing that baby love. You have to do the same thing with the projects that you're working on, with your goals. You have to nurture them, just like a plant that is in a growing stage, a new plant that you have to water it, right? You have to give it sunlight if that's what's necessary for it to prosper. You have to water your dreams. You have to feed your dreams. You have to nourish them in order for them to truly grow and expand to the complete flourishing of what their purpose to be. Listen, faith without work is dead. You cannot just have this dream and this vision and give birth to it by bringing it into the tangible world. Like, say, for instance, with your book, you're writing your book, you have birthed that book. You could tangibly see the pages of your book, even if it's not necessarily printed up yet. You have written out an outline of what your book is. You have given birth to that book because now it's tangible. You have something you could hold in your hand, or you have something you could read on that email pertaining to your book. But if you just leave that book there sitting as an outline, you're not nurturing it. You're going to nurture that book by continuing to write chapter 2, by continuing to write the introduction, by continuing to work on the cover for that book. Understand, whatever it is that you're working on, step away from guilt by choosing yourself in this season and doing what you have to do to nurture what you're working on. Release the guilt of not being able to show up to every party, to every event, or to have to go into solitude because you're focusing. You have tunnel vision on what you're working on. Do not allow guilt to consume you. Right? And I know that was a mouthful, but this conversation needs to be had. A lot of people are stuck in guilt. I myself was stuck in guilt for so long by choosing to do things for myself and feeling like, oh, well, I didn't show up for this person. Well, who's going to show up for me? It's time to have that energy in 2023. I have showed up time and time again for everyone. It's time that I show up for me. And show up for me in a productive way, right? Not just show up for me by putting on a cute outfit and going out where everybody's hanging out and doing absolutely nothing, but talking about other people, getting drunk, or whatever else is going on in the midst of these situations. I'm not saying everybody do it, okay? But I'm talking from my viewpoint of what I have seen, right? It is time to show up for yourself and to not allow guilt to consume you because you made that choice. You deserve to show up for you. Remember, you matter. Now, in this season of your life, it's important for you to develop into who you are truly purposed to be. And that starts off by you knowing who you are, because once you know who you are, you learn to appreciate yourself. You begin to handle yourself differently. That self-love is going to go through the roof. And when you truly love yourself, when you truly know who you are, now you want what's best for you. And that ties into stepping away from guilt, because you're allowing yourself to flourish. You're allowing yourself to nurture not only your goals and your dreams, but to nurture yourself. Because treat yourself as a garden. Water yourself. Give yourself sunlight. And allow not only your goals and your dreams to bloom, but allow yourself to bloom as well. It's time to go to work. Listen, know who you are. this is another episode. This has been another episode of the Know Who You Are podcast. I am your host, Tamisa D, and I will see you guys next time. But wait. Listen, if you have not already joined the Know Who You Are family, the community that we are building over here, a community of self-development, a community where you can grow and flourish in your own unique way and not be judged by being exactly who you are. We pride ourselves over here in encouraging you to be your authentic self. Because remember, authenticity can't be duplicated, and you heard that here first. So if you hear anybody else saying that, listen, you know they tuning in. Authenticity cannot be duplicated, and over here on Know Who You Are TV, Know Who You Are podcast, I encourage you to be your true, authentic self, because that is going to lead you into purpose. Know who you are, know that you are worthy, you are beautiful, and I want you to remember to smile today because you definitely deserve to. Listen, this has been another episode of the Know Who You Are podcast. Do not allow guilt to consume you. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.